We're going to try to record this whole lesson, converting the following percents to decimals, all right? So we all know that 50% is really 1/2. And we all should know that half of something, half of 1 is what? 0.5. So the decimal is simply 0.5. So this answer is 0.5 if you want to call it. Now, the way to actually do it, let me actually zoom into the 50%. When you think about percent, that means per 100. Actually, let me go back to these like little notes that we have right here. Percent means per 100. So when you say per 100, I mean cent. How many cents are in a dollar? 100. How many years are in a century? 100. Right? So cent means 100. So when you say percent, it means per 100. Now, what does that mean? It means that you're dividing by 100. So just a quick exercise, guys. If I have 3 times 100, what's my answer? 300. So it's kind of like if you had the 3 and the 100 made you move the decimal place 2 spaces and you fill them in with zeros, right? So that's why 3 times 100 is 300. Now, likewise, if you take 300 and you want to divide it by 100, it would be moving the decimal place 2 places, which is the exact reason why when we convert a decimal to a percent, we move the decimal 2 places over. Does that make sense? It's the trick. So when I look at 50% and they tell me to write it as a decimal, that's really like having a decimal back here and moving it over 2 places. Because percent means per 100, which means divided by 100. Just like if you had 50 divided by 100, that's 0.5. Does that make sense? Okay, so how about 25%, which kind of has an invisible decimal over here. What do I do to it? Move it. So what's my answer? 0.25. Okay. How about 10%? That's 0.1. Or you could put 0.1. Sure. You could have put 0.25 up here if you wanted to. But the bottom line is, it's kind of like if you had a decimal and moved it over 2 spaces. Okay. Let's look at the next one, 4.25%. Okay, so we need to put a 0 right here, right? So the answer as a decimal is going to be 0.0425. And of course, you could put a 0 in the front if you'd like. But the bottom line is 0.425% is 0.0425 as a decimal. So I hope we understand how to convert percents to decimals, because that's going to be a very important role in the next lesson that we have that we're about to begin in a couple of seconds. So let's all stand up right now and grab a calculator, and we're going to pause the video until you guys do that. Go for it. So ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start by copying down the notes. And the main notes for today is this proportion that we have here. From yesterday, we learned that a proportion is really one fraction equaling another fraction. And we will be able to cross multiply to find missing values. And the pattern that we need to have memorized on this proportion is over of equals percent over 100. The percent over 100 is easy because we just mentioned that percent means per 100, and that really means divided by 100. When I say 33%, I'm talking about 33 divided by 100. When I say 50%, I'm talking about 50 over 100. So the percent's always over 100. That's super easy to memorize. The is, you're going to have to look for that in the word problem or in the situation. And the of, you're also going to have to look for that in the word problem or the situation. Sometimes when you're talking about a real world situation, like with an original price, the original price will go down here. So there's going to be some very basic questions, straightforward, like number 1 right here. It says, what is, ladies and gentlemen, what is 50% of 18? Now, I know you guys already know what 50% means. 50% means half, right? So, in other words, what is half of 18? Oh, the answer is 9. But you see, what we're supposed to practice is setting up the proportion that we have up here. The is over of equals percent over 100. So, notice that it says, what is? You don't know the number that's with the is. So, you would put an X up here on the is portion. You see this is up here? You would put an X up there. It says, what is 50%? Where are you going to write 50? Up here on top of the 100. So you're going to put equals 50% per 100. And it says of 18. So obviously the 18 is going to belong down here with where the word of is at. So you're going to put 18 down here. So just like yesterday, we learned how to solve proportions with cross multiplication. We're going to do that here. If you want to, go ahead and reduce, cancel out the zeros, and you could even reduce 5/10 to become 1/2, and it'll be even easier. So 1 over 2. So you really have x over 18 equals 1 over 2. And if you cross multiply and say x times 2, that's just 2x. And then if you say equals 18 times 1, that's just 18. So when you divide both sides by 2, your final answer, x, equals 9. Now, I know you guys are thinking, why would I want to do that if I already know that 50% means half, and half of 18 is 9? All right, some of them you'll be able to do in your head like that. Let's take a look at number 2. It says 13 is 25% of what number? So the best way to do this is to set up with the truth, with the notes that we just copied down. Is over of equals percent over 100. So when I say 13 is, that's going to be a 13 on top over the of. What's the of number? What's the of number? A variable. You don't know it. Let's put an x right there. Now we're going to put equals, and what's the fraction on the right side? 25 over 100. 25 over 100. Now you guys have calculators. You could cross multiply and say 13 times 100 equals 25 times x. So you could have 25 times x equals 13 times 100 and then solve using your calculator. Or you could reduce it and make it a little nicer. What do I mean by that? The 25 over 100 could reduce down to 1/4. Yay? And then you could set it up as 13 times 4 equals x times 1, which is just 1x. So your answer would be 52, correct? Because 13 times 4 is 52. So ladies and gentlemen, you found your answer for x. X is 52. Yay? Okay. 12 is what percent of 36? So you remember, you have your proportion. Is over of equals percent over 100. So we have 12 is, so 12 is on top. What percent? You don't know the percent over the 100 of 36. 36 is where the of belongs. Now, of course, you could just cross multiply. 12 times 100, get 1200, get 36x. Set up the equation, 36x equals 1200. And then divide by 36 and get your final answer. Or you could take a couple of seconds and reduce your fraction and get 1/3. That way, when you cross multiply, it'll become 1 times 100 equals 3 times x. So that's really going to be 3x equals 100, which means x equals, if you divide both sides by 3, you'll get 33.3, and it continues forever. Now remember, we're talking about a percent here, so let's round. Does the 0.3 make it go up to 34%? No, so we're just going to say it's about 33%. So it says what percent? About 33%. 33.33333 to be exact. You guys get it? Okay. Check it out. Let's say, here are the notes, but written nicely, not disgusting like what I had on the board. But let's say you wanted to buy something. What do you guys want to buy? Shoes. Shoes. How much do the shoes cost? The original price. Okay. Let's say.
Like 75. 1,700.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Let's say it's $120 shoes. Okay. Now, let's say that there's a sale going on at the store, and the sale is, let's say, 25% off. Yeah. Now, is that a great sale? It's not that great, but something's better than nothing. So the way to do this, to figure out how much your discount actually is going to be, you first have to calculate using the above. You could say you want to know what the discount is, right? Of the original price, $120. So let's repeat that. You want to know what the discount is. You don't know the discount. You know that it's 25% off, but you want to know what the exact discount is off of the $120, right? So you don't know what the discount is, but you do know the original price, $120. And we know that it's 25% off. So let's find the discount. So the discount, you're supposed to do it this way, where you go X times 100 equals 120 times 25, or you could reduce first the 25 over 100 and it becomes 1 over 4. So if we cross multiply here, we're going to say X times 4, that's 4X, equals 120 times 1, that's 120. So when I divide by 4 and divide by 4, I'll get X equals 30. So ladies and gentlemen, the discount is $30. Yay? Okay, now that's how to do it algebraically. Okay, that's how to do it algebraically. Now we all have calculators, and I'm pretty sure when you're at the store, you're not going to break out with a pencil and paper and write this down and do the proportion and do cross multiplication. Forget that. Let's be real here. You're probably going to have a cell phone. You could open up your calculator on your cell phone, and this is what you're going to type in, guys. In order for you to know what the discount is, you're going to type in the 120, and you're going to hit the times button on your calculator, and you're going to multiply by the percent off. But your calculator doesn't know percent, it knows decimals. Yes, your calculator knows decimals. So let's convert the percent to a decimal. So how do you convert the 25% to a decimal? Move it 2 spaces. So you're going to go 120 times 0.25 and go ahead and hit equal on your calculator, and you get the answer 30. You get the discount 30. Okay, now this is not something that you should learn for the quiz Friday. This is something that you should learn so you don't get ripped off at the stores, right? So whenever it says a percent off, convert the percent to a decimal, and then you'll be able to multiply it with the original price, and you'll find out how much you actually get discounted. So if you want the actual price of your shoes, you'd have to go back to the 120 shoes, take off the 30, you get them for 90 bucks. You guys got it? So we're finally to the homework, and what was that? Okay, so we're finally to the homework, and it says to state the percent increase or decrease. So they give you an original price, and then they give you a new price, okay? So you're always going to be using the proportion that we learned in our notes. Is over of equals percent over 100. So when we're talking about percent increase or decrease, we need to actually think, all right? It's not just about plugging in numbers. The original price was $25. The new price is $10. So what happened? Did it increase or drop? It dropped in price. How much did it drop? Because we're trying to find out what is the percent decrease. So it dropped how much? 15. So the discount is 15, right? Of the original 25. So let's write that in. The discount is the 15 of the original 25. It equals, and the question up above on the instructions, it says, what is the increase or decrease? What percent increase or decrease? So you don't know the percent, but you know it's X over 100. And now you're able to cross cancel. You could reduce first, because 15 over 25 reduces down. If you reduce by 5, it'll give you 3/5. Yay? So when you cross multiply, you're going to have 3 times 100 equals 5 times X. So you really have an equation that reads 300 equals 5X. And if you divide both sides by 5 with the calculator, what do you get?
60.
X equals 60. Now that is, it's not the is part, the 60 is the percent part. So the answer is, this was a 60% decrease. 60% decrease. Okay, so that's how you do that first section.